As a person who's been educated in the arts, one of the things I say all the time is that I didn't experience education outside of an arts education. Like everything that I learned, everything that makes sense to me came through the lens of an art form. And what I love about Crescendo and what I've experienced as a parent, having my children, you know, leave the sessions with you being really excited, is that it's not just a skill or information, but it is being around you and experiencing what you have, what's become a part of your, you know, craft and how you express yourself. Because it's the confidence that's come through, right? You know, saying you didn't have pursuits to be some big star, you know, it really speaks to me, because that was never my goal either as an artist, to become someone who achieved stardom, but someone who could make sense of the things around me and be able to express myself in that, you know, world. And having that confidence, I think, is something really huge, especially for our Black and brown children, because being educated in any space, especially predominantly white spaces, it's just really important to carry confidence with you, even if it's strong and wrong. You know, I leave sometimes with the kind of, you know, you just moving, you know, you show up and you want to be there. And so I really admire that. I also want to touch on some of the ways that you share not just technique and skill, but you expose these young artists to other composers that they may not have otherwise been exposed to. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yes. So that's another, I was just about to say, that's another way that Crescendo, that's another way that Crescendo was sort of born. Like, I have always been a lover of history and into American history, and that's what I want to do when I go to college. I want to major in American studies, and I've always cared deeply about the study of history. And I noticed that, like, not a lot of people care about history class, not a lot of people are interested in it, and not a lot of people know the things. Like, there's so much information out there because of how many people have existed in the world and how much has happened, that not everyone can know everything. But there are some things that, depending on what you're doing, if you're a musician, if you're an engineer, like whatever you're doing, knowing the people in those spaces that look like you, that's important. And so that's what I wanted out of this program, because I was like, I can make something that meshes together two of my passions. Like, this is awesome. Like,
it's amazing.
That's just what it was. And so I've been teaching the students in this pilot about different composers and different musicians who are Black, just about who they are. Like,
Absolutely.
And it's a learning experience for me as well, because I didn't know a lot of these people existed either.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going through and teaching a 6-year-old who Chevalier was, and I didn't know who he was until recently, and I'm learning along with him, and I'm able to teach him, or not even teach him, because for the younger kids it's more of an exposure, versus for older kids it's like, I have to teach you or tell you who this person is, because you know who Mozart is, you know who Vivaldi is, you know who Bach and Brahms are and Beethoven, but you don't know Ignatius Sancho, like, you don't know all these people. And so I'm teaching you and I'm reading these stories to you, and then we're having a conversation, versus with the younger kids, I'm showing them a picture of them, playing music by them, and we'll dance to it. Something that, instead of having to teach something to them, I'm sort of ingraining it in their upbringing.
It's becoming their norm, as opposed to kind of shifting and saying, you know, we exist too, to the older kids. I love that.
And that's something I realized throughout the program, because I was like, how am I supposed to teach a 4-year-old or a 6-year-old who Chevalier was? Like, there's all this stuff about his life that I can't necessarily mention, or they won't understand. How do I talk to them about all these operas that they wrote? Do they know what an opera is? No, they don't know what an opera is. And all of these different things. And I just realized that for them, I'm not necessarily teaching them as much as I am exposing them and making it so that when they grow up, it's not a question of who is Chevalier. It's, oh, I remember hearing about him.
Absolutely.
I kind of know who that person is, instead of Black people were composers in the 1800s. What? Like, that's the 1700s. So.
Yeah, absolutely.